For more than a quarter century, Compatible Technology International, or as we refer to it, CTI, has had one overriding goal: sharing resources and knowledge to fight hunger and poverty. Specifically, we help to improve the conditions of the poor and marginalized in the developing world through practical post-harvest food technologies. If people in poverty can earn money, can attain disposable income, they are then on the way to opening up greater opportunities for themselves, their children, and their communities. CTI was founded in 1981 by a group of General Mills food scientists and research engineers. The team sought ways in which their knowledge, their expertise, and their human kindness might help the poor in developing countries to resolve food problems and increase food supply by using local resources. The team soon expanded to include additional volunteers, and they decided that major emphasis should address the post-harvest side of the food chain, which is still the mission of CTI. Serious attention had and continues to cover seeds, fertilizers, and irrigation for cultivating crops, but little thought had been given to the farmer's post-harvest need to store, transport, and process the actual crops following harvest. This continues to be our focus. Our goal, which is carried out almost exclusively by volunteers, is to select appropriate technologies that are safe, affordable, respect the environment, require little or no fuel and electricity, and are compatible with the culture of the users. Most of our technologies are sized for small villages, extended families, co-ops, or very small commercial users. The first program stop for CTI was in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, where a village-based potato dehydration program was introduced. Potatoes are typically harvested in March. Since a large percentage of the potatoes rot before they can be sold, it was important to find a way to extend their shelf life. CTI, along with a partner in India, developed a peeler and slicer and a method to dry the potatoes. This allowed the potatoes to be sold over several months. Complementing this idea was the rustic store, a sturdy structure having a slat floor over a pool of water with thatch or ventilated roof. Potatoes can be kept fresh in the moist air for as long as 4 months, adding significantly to the value received by the farmers. From India, which continues to be a major site for CTI operations, opportunities in Central America opened up, where over 2 decades of food programs have been carried out. In Guatemala, CTI volunteers worked with the Jalapa branch of CARE International to find a way to reduce the staggering loss of half of the corn crop. A CTI volunteer invented a small sheller made from wood and studs. Then farmers were taught to make simple sheds which keep the corn off the ground away from rodents. And finally, metal silos fabricated by local artisans trained by CTI volunteers provided reliable storage for the corn crop. These were financed through a women's microfinance lending program, a method of financing that we continue to explore and encourage today. CARE spun off its Jalapa branch, and it is now a thriving, independent nonprofit organization, thanks in part to CTI. CTI's most visible and popular technology is probably our adjustable bird-type mill, often called a grinder. We now have 2 models in production, both functionally similar, but optimized for manufacture in 2 locations. The Omega-6 is manufactured in the U.S. and has a robust cast aluminum body. The Ewing-3 is manufactured in Kampala, Uganda, and has a sheet metal body and requires less sophisticated manufacturing steps. Both models use identical burrs, bearings, and augers, and consequently have similar performance. The grinders are used to process ground nuts, most commonly peanuts, grains, corn, coffee, and breadfruit. They can be powered by hand, bicycle, or electric motor. The model manufactured in Uganda is the result of a joint venture with AT Uganda, an NGO based in Kampala, funded by a McKnight grant. The goal was to improve rural nutrition and promote income generation in 10 districts in Uganda. There are many other grinders sold in Africa, but the CTI grinder proved to be of better quality and greatly superior to the other imported grinders. The price of the grinder continues to be a deterrent for some, and CTI engineers continue to find ways to reduce the cost without sacrificing quality. In fact, a wooden version of the grinder has been under development for about a year. This would reduce shipping costs and may even allow local wood to be used to construct the grinder, with the rest of the parts being shipped from the U.S. CTI grinders have also been used to produce a food supplement called RUTF in the medical literature, which stands for Ready-to-Use Therapeutic Food. For this project, CTI worked with a U.S. pediatrician whose NGO, Meds and Foods for Kids, provides this important food for the children in Haiti. CTI provides the grinders, which are used to grind peanuts used in the supplement, and provided the training needed to prepare the supplement. In contrast to milk-like formulas, RUTF does not require mixing with clean water, something difficult to find in Haiti, and the supplement can be stored safely at room temperature. Another CTI volunteer and former Peace Corps volunteer carried an Omega grinder to central Senegal, where he introduced grinding local millet flour and peanut butter through a Peace Corps volunteer who was on the ground. In rural villages, millet and sorghum are usually processed with the traditional mortar and pestle to remove the seed from the head. Then remove the seed coat and finally pummel the grain into flour. CTI continues to work with the Peace Corps at various levels to promote CTI technologies and find other needs that our engineers can help provide solutions to. Moringa is a tree that grows in many developing countries and is often referred to as the miracle tree. Its leaves are highly nutritious. A few years ago, a longtime CTI volunteer began researching this plant and discovered that when the leaves are ground into a powder, they can be added to food, improving the nutritional value significantly. This began the research and development using the CTI grinder to grind moringa leaves. In February of 2008, after just the right burrs and screens were determined, 2 CTI volunteers traveled to Ghana, where they were part of a lecture program on all aspects of moringa. The Moringa Association of Ghana and Peace Corps volunteers aided in planning and conducting these lectures, and they endorsed the quality of the product and the grinder. A Ghanaian man present in one of the seminars was in the U.S. in June and met with CTI. He's very interested in obtaining 20 grinders to sell to villagers in Ghana to assist with moringa production. In addition, in recent years, CTI volunteers, through another NGO they are associated with, Lutheran Aid to Medicine Bangladesh, have introduced the Omega grinder to a group of women who are using it to produce peanut butter that is being sold in the community. In addition to post-harvest food processing devices, CTI is also improving people's lives by helping provide clean water. A major cause of infant mortality in developing countries can be attributed to contaminated water supplies. With funding from the R.C. Lilly Foundation, a CTI volunteer and former engineer for the city of Minneapolis developed the CTI chlorinator after testing 8 different models. This water chlorinator is a village-level device designed for rural areas with a gravity supply of water and will serve communities from a few dozen to a few thousand inhabitants. It is made of a simple configuration of PVC piping and 2 PVC valves. The valves direct a controlled water flow over solid, slow-dissolving chlorine tablets. The unit costs less than $100 US to build and install, and all parts are available worldwide. Monthly operational costs are around $5 for the chlorine tablets, depending on the water flow. This device has been field tested and is ready to be implemented. The model for implementation involves villages establishing water committees that would operate and maintain their own water systems, including the CTI chlorinator. The committee members would be trained in simple maintenance, operation, and chlorine testing, with supervision from water technicians. While the chlorinator is currently in operation in Nicaragua, it can be implemented in many other places. Many of the world's people live on the produce of a hectare or less of land. Often the difference between abject poverty and a sustainable life is how the meager produce of that scrap of land is processed, stored, and even marketed. By sharing our knowledge and resources, Compatible Technology International is helping untold thousands of people maximize their production, leading to healthier and more productive lives. We would love to have you help us in our mission. There are many ways that is possible. You can volunteer for us, support us financially, and help spread the word about what we do. Please consider getting involved. You can find more information at www.compatibletechnology.org.